Yes, welcome to another Sunday evening at the round table. Ah, brothers, there is much to discuss, talk about, you know, since we last gathered at the round table. Ah, we heard the PMP is now leading the JLP. We don't know what that is about. We don't know. Certainly, I don't know. The job description was in the news mainly because of a remark made by Tony Hilton, the MP for the area. And people still continue to deal with crime and violence because last night was the end of another curfew in Waterhouse. But this time it was different. The curfew imposed focus on Balcom Drive to Samakan, up to CY Drive. So there's much to talk about. Much to talk about in terms of what's happening on the ground. There's also Mr. Rattigan in the news again. You know, a lot of information. I don't know. They're gonna, why they must get tired of you know. Because they must say, oh, this man now give up.
Never.
Which is good. You know, so there's much to talk about. But I want to start off the discussion by focusing on an editorial in this Sunday Gleaner. And I want to do that because we know that the Gleaner company, it protects the land class, the oligarchy in Jamaica. Okay? And when an editorial publish and it is basically supporting citizen right to recall the politician then. Market, this discussion is part of the whole job description thing that them are work on in Jamaica. We talked about it some time ago, you know, as a group. And it seemed like somebody in Jamaica heard what we were saying and what happened. For the editorial, I don't know. But last you had a chance to look at the editorial. What do you think? Well, do you think that this is going in the type of direction that we want to go? A democracy in Jamaica?
I think basically what's happening, you know, is that the corruption thing in Jamaica has reached such a point, and when the whole uncontrollability of the representatives in a Jamaica, it have a part to play in the corruption situation in the country. Because one, there's no transparency most of the time for the ordinary citizens to look into what the leaders are doing, right? So a lot of the scandals and a lot of the corruptions that are revealed when it's gone too far, right? Because the citizens have had no opportunity, right, to see the process of leadership, right, or to comment or to criticize the process of leadership. And I think the whole country right now is seeing that there needs to be more transparency in what the leaders are doing. And it's only a matter of time that they would have come to this conclusion that, I mean, the ordinary citizens need more control over the leadership of the country. And one of those ways to control them is to be able to question them, right? To look into what they are doing, to advise them and to also recall them if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So it was only a matter of time, that a lot more people would have come to this conclusion.
But in this article, they are criticizing Wholeness, one can say, because Wholeness put forward something, table something in the house, in the house, without any recall whatsoever. And now here the Gleaner is saying, and we said it before, listen, there was a report prepared by Carl Stone report, and then there was Clark document. We sort of call for a recall, a very comprehensive document, and the Gleaner basically said, why there's no need for reinvent the wheel. So it seems like something shift take place, and now there's some pressure directed towards
the whole question of the salary increase for the MPs. It opened up a lot of questions, because I'm sure it is more clear to a lot of people that Andrew Holness' response with this job description was not genuine. It was just a cover-up thing. Because remember, Andrew, when he just came to power in 2016, he made a lot of promises about accountability of members of parliament and members of his cabinet, right? And none of these, he never followed up with any of these promises, right? And now that they come under this harsh criticism for the increases that they gave to themselves, all of a sudden, right? He has some, hurry come up thing about accountability, and it doesn't go as far to who.
Well, yeah, I was saying, I don't think it's a Jamaican saying, but I think it's a saying nonetheless that might be familiar to a lot of us as Jamaicans. You can't put a fax together in-house, right? And that's the saying that really come to mind last when you mentioned about, Wholeness trying to put together this job description or whatever you want to call it, right? Because him is the last person to really do something like that, especially at the 11th hour. Because the thing about it is that he's only putting that together now, like you said, right? Coming
reaction,
out of the pressure, right? Yes, exactly.
Maria.
Yeah. So that makes no sense. So it's not even something worth discussing what he did.
No. Ratigan, I want to hear you on this, because basically the Gleaner is supporting your line. What you say, you can't have a job description and there's no metrics in terms of measurement and all of that stuff involved in it. What do you think?
You're muted. Yeah.
You're muted, Ratigan.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, technology. You still can't hear me, right?
No,
Yeah.
Can hear you,
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I haven't read the editorial, but we don't really need the editorial to really make a statement on the issue. And it's funny you mention that, because I have the two documents in here in front of me, and I've had them since somebody sent them to me a week ago. And
okay.
When you go through this document, right, there are no metrics where you can hold people responsible, and then there are no consequences. It doesn't say if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen. Then also, in my signs is the job description for members of parliament. I mean, I don't know if you need the opposition leader to sign off on this, but when you read these things, these are things that as a politician, you should subscribe to. Like, for example, you should subscribe to having regular contact with your constituency. That's a must, right? And yet it's in here. And when you go through the whole thing, you realize that this thing is not worth the paper it's written on. Another point is that they spent over I've been told that they spent what $1 billion Jamaican dollars or something like that and gave it to Ernest and Young or some consulting group they gave to do this. This document could have been done by any HR, and I think Wesley and last mentioned it last week. Could have been done by any HR person, any competent HR person in Jamaica. It didn't have to go out and employ a consultancy company to come in and do this. When you read this, the language is very simple. The concepts are very, very basic. So I think what we should do is, and I'm seriously looking at it, is to file a lawsuit against the government for fraud. Because this is fraud committed against the people of Jamaica. Because it's not free money, you know, it's tax, it come out of the coffers, right? And remember, government don't have no money. It's not government funded. It's taxpayer funded. And then we have roads to fix. We have the health sector to deal with. We have lack of housing, no jobs, education. I mean, you name it. And then you spend $1 billion. Oh, and then the other thing too is that the document that is the basis for the job description, them say it's in draft stages. So how can that be in draft and you have a final job description document? How is that possible?
And you put a presentation to the country.
Yes, exactly. So look, there's a lot of things they have to answer for, you know, and it just seems like when you think the government can't do any worse, them surprise you, them the worst. Because this, no, we need to look into this to see how that money was spent, who spent that money, and where it went, and if there were any kickbacks. We need to look at that, because if you read this document, and you don't have to read it carefully, just read it casually, and you'll understand that any HR person in Jamaica, any HR person with any training could have drafted this. So I don't know what else to say, but that this is a farce and a fraud, and we need to look into it seriously.
I think you touch a good point, you know, but I'm not sure about suing the government for fraud over this. I think more urgent is really to get the adoption of the Stone Report, because that is what the Gleaner Editorial is saying. And a couple of weeks ago, Trevor Manuel came out and reminded Jamaicans about this report. Now, I think it's more important to see that get this Carl Stone report adopted or come to the public so we can see what's in the report and we can start a national conversation as to MP.
Well, Nita, therein lies the fraud that I'm talking about. If you already have a document, a comprehensive document that lays out all of these things that we're talking about, job description with metrics, why would you ignore that? Because that's a public document. I mean, it wasn't. I think you can avail yourself of that document. I don't think that document is hidden anywhere. Why didn't they use that document as a template to come up with this document that you're instead of going to spend $1 billion plus for a document that's still in a draft stage, and then they come out with this? Therein lies the
Politics.
Politics. Here's the thing though. To what you said, Ratty, and our Michael said, is that first of all, with regards to what you said, Ratty, this has been the practice of the Jamaican government for quite some time. When you see them put out things and them have these agencies or whatever, where them pay how much money, right, to put this thing out, it's to give the appearance that this thing has some credibility to it. Right? It's just some way of duping the people. Like you say, any HR person could have done it. But the thing about it is that this is the way they have operated over and over and over. So it's like they legitimize a whole corruptive practice, right? To make it appear as something, you know, of substance, right? So there is where you'll run into the battle of, you know, fighting uphill to drag it through the courts. Because the thing about it is that everything is set up for operate under this corrupt system. And it's hard to make, you know, for really get any credibility out of that kind of situation. Right? What we're really faced with right now is what comes front and center more than anything else right now, right, is how meaningless the current Jamaican constitution is, and the urgency for us to really deal with it in a practical way, right? Because it's like it's almost like you're dealing with the lawless, right? Because these people really operate without any regard to the law. That's really
Well,
what
I'm not
happens.
sure.
It's just a
Can you
sham.
clarify? I'm not sure the law has anything to do with the Prime Minister tabling documents in Parliament, you know, for
That's
a
the very
discussion.
thing. It doesn't. That's the very problem. It doesn't.
What do you mean? Explain that to me. Because
In other
as
words,
the Prime Minister, him can table any member of the House can table documents in. Where the corruption come into it? Are you saying that somebody was paid corrupt, you know, to produce a certain product?
I'm saying that.
That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that you can't determine anything one way or the other. That's the problem. We can't say, just like you can cite the Stone report, right? And say that, well, okay, as Ratty said, how can you ignore it then? That means it never really have any teeth. It never really meant much. And that's why you can ignore it.
Let me hear the others now. What you guys think? Wesley,
Yeah.
you look at the editorial, right?
Yeah, I read the editorial, and I think, brothers, I think this thing is just a scam. We can call it a scam. We can call it corrupt. We can call it anything. But I think it's more a 3-card thing than anything else. Look what it is now. In the second paragraph, they said that Holness, that's the Prime Minister of Jamaica, present Prime Minister, 12 days ago in Parliament said that he would establish a joint select committee to look at the document and discuss it. You remember that everything came about after the salary
Increase.
argument. Yes. And he wanted to maybe appease some of the people who were talking, because I realize as Jamaicans, sometimes we give in quickly. It is a serious problem. The Giant Select Committee, today, the Prime Minister to date don't appoint a Giant Select Committee to discuss it. I remember, you know, when you table something in the Parliament, there must be a discussion, there must be disagreement and correction and all of that. And people agree upon points and so forth. So that Giant Select Committee today don't appoint it. The Giant Select Committee must come from the opposition and the governing party. So it's a tricky thing. Because if you don't have the Giant Select Committee, as all of us is saying, in terms of to put in the teeth in the thing, in terms of what the job description will be, what the penalty will be, and all of those things, then it's just a piece of paper and a piece of argument in the newspapers and the paper that he table in Parliament that is going down the stream. We are in deep doo-doo water. That's all I have to say.
Gentlemen, I don't want to belate this point. I know one thing is clear, that the GLP is still up to its con-man game. That is clear. Because this is a reaction to the noise the people them start to make about the salary. And don't forget, I think he was thrown off his game by the news coming out of the PMP that, listen, this is what the poll is saying. so you know, it get thrown off and can't react. You understand me? I think that's what's happening with the GLP right now. You see, you know, so
Also, Mikey,
go ahead.
also, you have to remember, you know, both parties are of the opinion that corruption has never been the main predictor of the outcome of an election or the popularity of a government, right? So the game is to introduce things to drag whatever the issue is, right? Around corruption is just to introduce things to drag it along the road a little bit, muddy the water, make the thing more cloudy, and then it die a natural death. These guys feel that, you know, if they can say they did this salary increase, people were upset. If they can introduce something else to, you know, extend the thing a little bit down the road, get a little talk, and then the whole thing dies. You know, because that's what normally happens in Jamaica when it comes to corruption and those kind of things. You know, so I think this was just another thing to, you know, just let the thing peter out, take it a little further from the source, and it dies.
Well, I know the Jamaican people, you know, we have seen this game before. We have seen all this maneuvering and what have you. And it's a whole game, whole and tired game.
Exactly.
Jamaican right now I look for new stuff to deal with the problems that they have. And this
That's why we
document,
need a new constitution.
well, we need much more than that. We need much more than that. But I want to turn to Rattigan.
Yeah.
You were in the news again this week.
I don't mean on the news. The minister of the news.
Come in on the news.
Yeah.
And the minister say, are you in a big soap party? You're in a big three-piece.
What really go on? What really go on? Because you still look. Why not smart that lady, Virgin?
See the thing, you know. See the man in the news, you know, man. See the man.
Where?
You know.
Oh.
So
Right.
that man is going to start
Oh,
pulling
well,
out
that's
that
in the newspaper, Wes.
Today a newspaper. It come into the
Yeah, give me a look on that. Give me a look
Put
on
it
that.
right
Put
up
the
there.
camera seat, you know. Put the
Then
button
four
seat.
more donors revealed.
Okay.
And
We can only see it online, but I like see what you see in a print, right? You know.
right.
Show me the picture. Show me the picture.
Radigan.
Yeah.
For the audience, just give a little
You can see the
background
pictures of the
set the
people.
stage and tell us the term, because I'm not sure Lass is aware of what is happening. But you know, just set the stage and tell us, bring us up to date to what I'm going right.
Oh,
Because this one is going to be a very interesting.
No, you want the whole case, or you just want just today?
Not last. Right
It's
before
up
you
to you.
continue, you say I want you to inject this because there's a question in the meantime when they are dealing with it. They say that you don't have enough
Standing.
links in Jamaica to
Standing.
farm this thing.
Yeah, that's
so if you
nonsense.
don't have
That's
enough
standing.
links,
Yeah.
is it that other companies that you have direct link with in Jamaica can farm it, can
no,
write? So,
it's-
and as a
it's-
citizen of Jamaica, you is a lawyer.
That's
Is
a
it that
stalling
you
tactic.
don't have enough link?
No,
So
man,
this-
that argument is a bogus argument, just like it's a three-card argument. The Jamaican Constitution, I think it's Section 3. It says that if you were born in Jamaica, you're a Jamaican citizen, and if you were born in
Yeah, that's
Jamaica
what I know.
before August 6, 1962, then as of August 6, 1962, because before that you were a British subject. After that, after August 6, 1962, you're a
You're
Jamaican.
Jamaican.
Yeah, and if you want to renounce Jamaican citizenship, there's a process where you have to go through to do that. Like, for example, I'd have to go through the embassy, then they would send, there's a paperwork I have to fill out, then it would go to the Ministry
So
of...
you denounce your Jamaican citizenship?
No, I've never done that. No.
Okay, that means it's a Jamaican. All right,
Exactly.
argument done.
Argument done, right? So, but it's just something that they throw out. For example, they throw out that
Wesley.
and said that I needed to get leave of court to file the action. And I can't believe she had such high-priced, high-powered lawyers, and they would make such a silly argument. Because at the top of my complaint, it said request for an administrative order. An administrative order in Jamaica does not require leave of court. What they're talking about is something called a judicial review. A judicial review like a writ of mandamus or something like that, where you're asking the court to do something to somebody, right? Then you need leave of court. So you have to file it. The court have to listen to the initial argument and say, okay, I think you have a good case. Go ahead and file your formal document. In my case, all I'm asking the judge to do is say, Judge, here is the evidence that you didn't file. I need you to make a proclamation that you didn't file. I'm not asking you to fine her. I'm not asking you to send her to prison. I'm not asking you to ask them for anything. Just based on the evidence, you make a determination. That's it. So when they make the argument that, oh, you need leave of court, that's silly. I don't know why they do something like that. If you're going to throw the kitchen sink at me, throw a real kitchen sink, not these, this plastic and food arguments. But anyway,
that's why I go back to the point I made earlier, that when you make the remark about that thing not being worth the document it is written on, right? This is precisely what we're talking about. They come up with these stuff not because they know that there's anything legitimate to back it, but because they're accustomed to playing the people like that. Right?
It's
like you said, competent lawyers, they know better than that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the reason why they bring it.
It's not supposed to influence the court. It's not supposed to influence the outcome. It's just supposed to influence the perception that people have of the thing and the perception they have of Ratigan. And actually, some people might be saying, oh, if they succeed in getting their stupid ideas across, they would probably expect that some people saying, this man is a foreigner, this man don't have this man don't have legitimacy to do this and dismiss it. So it's just public opinion they're trying to influence, not the course of the legal proceeding or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're not concerned with whether they're saying something sensible or not, because the aim is not to influence the court or sensible people. It's to influence just those people in the public who have not a good grasp of the situation.
No, here's what happened. They have something called abuse of the court process, right? And this is a perfect example of it. And the judge should actually, sanction them for this. Because when you make a statement that, oh, this guy needs leave of court to go file his action, and my action, and the very top of it, it says administrative order, and you come and tell the judge, oh, judge, throw it up because he needed leave of court. The judge should have said, no, man, you waste my time. The judge should have done that. But anyway, to get to the point, just to sum it up, what happened is that the Honorable Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, she, for her campaign to become Secretary General of the Commonwealth, she received a gift of $99,000, not in cash, but in services provided by Finn Partners out of New York in consultancy services. And what they did was they tried to go around the rules, because the rule says if you're going to give a gift to the government, there's a certain procedure. There are about 12 steps you have to take. One of them is that you have to notify the government. Two, if it's a significant gift like this was, it has to be approved by the cabinet. Then you have to fill out the gift form. Then a due diligence must be done to make sure that the money is not coming from tainted sources, and then it has to go through the budgetary process where it's included. All of these things should have been done, and they weren't done, because what they did was with the money was they went around the process and went straight to Finn Partners in New York, and Finn Partners had to reveal that to the U.S. government. So that's where the search started, with the U.S. government Department of Justice. And if you go online, you can see the filings that they did way back last year, and the most current one, which was last month. So what happened is I started asking questions, saying, okay, how come she didn't file? So I filed under the access to information, and after a long period of time, I received information from the Ministry of Finance, with whom a filing should have been made. Ministry of Finance came back and said, we have no documents evidencing that the minister filed and accounted for this gift. I went back to them because this was done on March 30th, they sent it to me. I went back to them after March 30th and said to them about a month later, tell me if you file. And then I had additional questions. They came back and said, all of the questions you asked, they're moot because there is no documentation evidencing that she filed. Then I went to the cabinet and didn't expect them to respond, but they responded and they said, look, this gift that you're talking about, we have no idea. We have no idea about this. And then she did a response to my lawsuit in an affidavit wherein she says she did not receive a gift or any benefit in either her personal or official capacity, which is a lie. Which is a lie. Because guess what? Finn Partners, in their filing with the U.S. government, they said our client was this lady, Kamina Johnson Smith. And here, by the way, U.S. government, here's a list of the services we provided to her. And she turned around and said, oh, no, I didn't get any gift and I didn't get any benefit. And it was her campaign. So we asked the question, okay, if you were successful in this campaign, who would have occupied the mansion in Mayfair in London? Would it be the Jamaican government or you? When you get that big salary, $200 and something thousand plus, who would have gotten that? The Jamaican government or you? All the benefits accruing to the Secretary General, who would have gotten that? The Jamaican government or you? You. I said, okay, well, now let's talk about the Jamaican government because you said they got the benefit. What benefit did they get? None. And what benefit would they have gotten if you were Secretary General? None. Because you were the Secretary General for 54, 55 countries. And there's nothing that you could give Jamaica that any Secretary General wouldn't have given to Jamaica because it's based on need and qualification. So, for example, if Jamaica needed resources because of natural the disaster, or hurricane or whatever, any Secretary General would have done that. By the way, if the minister had been the Secretary General, she couldn't have given Jamaica more than what Jamaica deserved because there are accounting procedures, there are investigative procedures. People be looking at her, and she would run into an issue of possible corruption. She couldn't do it. So Jamaica got no benefit from it. And in fact, if you go back and you look at the statements made by the Minister of Information in and outside of Parliament, Robert Morgan, you see that he clearly said it was her campaign. He said it was her campaign. And then he distanced himself from the money and said, no, we don't know anything about the money. They came to us and said they wanted to support the candidacy. And we said, fine. No, what Finn Partners didn't do last year, they didn't state where the money came from unequivocally. What they indicated was that you could read into it that the minister paid them, but I knew that she didn't pay them. No, what the Gleaner just found out, and they called me because I checked with Department of Justice about 2 weeks ago to get the latest filing, and that filing that you see in the Sunday newspaper, that wasn't there. That filing wasn't there.
What filing is this?
This is a filing where now they've named 7 people and said these 7 people made a contribution to Finn Partners to provide services for Kamina Johnson Smith. That wasn't there 2 weeks ago, right? So you ask yourself the question, why is it that Finn would choose now, a year after they made that filing, to come and amend their filing? Why? And also, Minister Morgan, he said in Parliament, he gave 3 names, Grace Kennedy, Musan Group of Companies, and Keith Duncan. If you look on the Finn Partners filing, Musan Group of Companies is not mentioned there. So I don't know where he got that name from. Then it was 99,000. The filing from Finn now, and Finn itself, when it first filed, said it was 99,000, and they gave the dates that they collected the payments. No, the latest filing, they said they collected 82.
Not 99, 82.
Not 99, 82, and Musan Group of Companies is not listed there. So I am going next week now. I'm going to...
No, hold on. Are you saying that there's some shenanigans going on here?
Yes.
In terms of that admin did that submission?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And Finn Partners must remember that it submitted the first filing under the penalty of perjury. It must also remember that it submitted the second one under the penalty of perjury. And the first and the second one, you can't square them. You cannot square them as far as payments are concerned, you can't square them. They're two different
What you
things.
call the penalty of what?
Perjury.
Okay.
Yeah. So I am going to reach out to the Department of Justice next week and file a formal complaint with them about Fin Partners and have them look into Fin Partners, because Fin Partners must come clean, because we know that I don't believe the way they list the payments. I don't believe these 7 people sent in payments to Fin Partners. 7 people sent in payments. And in fact, if you look at April of last year when they received the first payment, they said in the first filing that they received $33,000 in April, 33 in May, 33 in June. Now, when you look at this filing, they said they got 25 in April. Something is not right.
No, it's not that something is not right. Is that you can see the hand behind the scene working. The hands, somebody trying to, in response to your lawsuit, somebody's trying to make some adjustments. Well,
Exactly.
they have made adjustments, and I wonder with all this adjustment, where does it put, where that leave the minister in all of this?
Look,
With these adjustments.
Look, a friend of mine told me a long time ago that, look, if you're digging a hole and you said dirt start come back down on you, stop dig, right? And the minister, she's at the point now where she can't dig anymore because she's boxed herself. She said, I received no gift, no benefit in either my personal or official capacity. End of story.
Can she amend that? Can she amend that also?
No, this statement she made was made in writing under oath.
But
In the parliament? In the parliament?
No, this is something she submitted to the court.
Orati,
Okay.
wasn't she aware of the Fin Partners filing?
That's a good question. And if so, that's a good question. And
But,
when? That's a good
but
question,
they were
lad.
the ones who were carrying out her services, so she must be aware of them.
Yeah, but no, what Lass is asking if she's aware of the filing, not the services, the filing, if she's aware of what they actually filed. She should have. She should have, because on the document itself, when they ask who's your principal, they didn't put her title, they put Kamina Johnson Smith. And further down, they identified her specifically. They said she's an individual who's a Jamaican national.
Okay.
They didn't say she's a government or a government official. They didn't put that. On another page, they said she's affiliated with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. But all along, they're saying our client, the person that we're giving services to, is Kamina Johnson Smith. Now, we've been paid by other people, but the person to whom the benefits will flow, Kamina Johnson Smith. And the woman get up and say, I receive no benefits and I receive no gift.
I would be interested to find out, one,
Hey,
did she say 99,000 and Flynn also say 99,000? Is that the money that they receive?
hold on there. Let me say,
Is there a difference in terms of the money that they receive?
She herself said that it was $99,000.
Okay, she said that.
Yeah, in her affidavit.
And Finn did file and says 99,000.
We'll find and say it's 99,000.
I know that. No, when they coming back and say it's 82.
You know when they say it's 82, I can give the exact number. No, they come back and they say, here it is. They said it's, all right. They said it's, $81,614.53.
Could it be 99,000 plus 81,000 something?
No,
or the Muslims.
Could it be?
That's a good. I never thought of that.
Could it be? Could it be a bigger figure than we are looking at Mikey and Lass? 99 plus.
I don't want him think along that line.
Why you wouldn't want
I tell you what. I tell you what. I tell you what. I don't want to go down that road. What I'm trying to understand right now, Rattigan filed a lawsuit, right? He filed a lawsuit. She has the right to respond to the lawsuit. She did put something in writing. At that point, there were certain consistencies between what she said and what Finn said. The only inconsistency is who was the beneficiary, right? But she said 99,000. Finn said 99,000. Now they come and say it's 81,000 plus. Okay, that said to me, are anybody sensibly enough to see that some general shit, some can game are going right here now.
But
They realize, I'm finished. They realize, say them up against a man and now drop it. So they might try amend all around to protect themselves.
But is there any protection in giving a different figure after them file the thing already?
I don't know.
I'm trying to figure out what would be the benefit of adjusting the amount at this time.
Because here's something else. That number 99 is significant enough because if they go 100, it triggers some filing requirements,
Okay.
So they go 99. And remember, in the US, if you deposit 10,000 or more, it triggers some filing requirements, some notification requirements. But if you do 9,900 2 times, it triggers the filing requirement as well because them say it's structuring. You're trying to hide.
Okay, I get the picture.
Inside it, So they go 99, and so now they back off of the 99 because I spoke to somebody who said, then the 100 would trigger a filing requirement for Finn. So and 99 would also, because then would have said, why is it 99 and not 100? How did you get 99? Why 99? Is there something magical about 99? So now they move it back to 81.
But that's why the question I am asking. That's why the question I am asking, Anita is putting it down, is that can it be they got 99,000 plus 89,000? And that is a real question, Mikey.
But Wesley, what I want to find out, and Ratib can probably expound on this, wouldn't, after they made a filing for 99,000, wouldn't they have to have supporting documentation to show that they got this 99,000? Which, if they now say it was 82,000, they would have to have separate documentation to say 82,000. So how would they justify that in front of the court?
Well, what happened is that in the first filing, right? And I have it here. The first filing, they didn't put down, they weren't as specific as now. So what they did was they just put on the payments and they have a contract here, and they didn't say where the money came from. Now they're saying where the money came from, right? Because for the services, they have a 1-page thing here called scope of work, and they provide it. Strategic counsel and issues management, media, program, competitive research, messaging, blah, 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 blah. The whole work, scope of work. But they didn't put down where the money came from. No, they put down where the money come from. All right. Now, here is what she said in her affidavit, right? She said, it is further in the public domain that the public relations work done by Finn Partners was paid for by third parties who were in support of a Jamaican government-sponsored activity. So she called it Jamaican-sponsored activity now. Her campaign, that's what she called it now. And she said, and so at no time did I receive any gift in either my personal or official capacity. I derived no benefit from either the funds expended by the Jamaican government or from the private sector. It was the Jamaican government that derived the benefit of consultancy services towards its campaign to have me, its candidate, elected as a Commonwealth Secretary General. You ever hear such nonsense?
But here what is left out, Ratty, and I think you made this point earlier.
Patrick, can you sit back so we see your face? I'm not seeing your face is not showing full. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's okay.
You made this point a while back on your show, right? Well, on several shows, I think, right? And that is, I think, if I remember correctly, she can go there as a personal representative.
Exactly.
Right? So this is the crux of the matter, because they leave that completely out of the article.
Right.
And that is the crucial point. Right?
Yeah, so she's not a personal representative.
When she went try and dance around it, there's no dancing around when it comes to speaking in court. You can dance around when you're putting something out there for fool the public. But you can't dance around when court time come.
But the argument defeat undermine what Rattigan is saying, because Rattigan his point say is an individual act of corruption.
Exactly.
That's what Rattigan is pointing to. He's not talking about the state acting a corrupt way.
Well, that's what Patrick has said too. Patrick has said it's an individual. She would not be representing the Jamaican government. She would be there in her individual capacity.
Right.
Right. But coming from Jamaica.
For that position?
But yeah. For that position, she would
No, I need clarification on that. Once she is applying for that seat, she's applying as a representative of Jamaica.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Not
as an individual.
No, but here's the thing, Michael. She doesn't represent Jamaica being the Secretary General. You cannot.
No. I understand that, but I'm saying she's putting for herself as a representative of Jamaica. Right?
No. You're misunderstanding, Michael. You're misunderstanding.
Well,
right?
Clarify it for me then. In terms of the individual versus this collective representation.
Let me get a shot. Maybe Ratty can clear it up even better than
the job is not a Jamaica government job.
Exactly.
It is a Kamina Johnson job.
Right.
She getting a job with
the organization.
Yes.
Okay. Here's what Minister Morgan said on August 7th of last year in an interview with Nationwide. He said, I don't know the fullness of the arrangement, but the public declaration says Finn Partners was engaged to provide PR support for Minister Johnson Smith in her campaign for Commonwealth Secretary General.
So the bigger allegation then must be why the government put so much resource behind someone for an individual position. Why so much resource?
42 million.
Yeah, just for an individual.
Yes, Mikey, that's a key point. That's a key point. I wasn't seeing it that way.
It is
because all along I thought,
yeah, but here's
Commonwealth position and she
prestige, Mikey. Prestige. Prestige.
But here's the thing.
Prestige.
Yeah,
prestige.
Is a key point, yes. It's a key point, yes. But the thing about it is that Jamaica is also a member to this organization as well.
Exactly. Right. That's where I'm getting.
So it's kind of like supporting a Jamaican candidate for an organization that you're a part of. So that is not so much the big question. The big question is how the person themselves handle
but
their campaign.
But
right, because she's trying to back away now that and make it look like it's a Jamaican campaign and it's not her personal campaign, and it is her personal campaign.
Okay.
So it could be two-folded, Patrick. It could be two-folded. No,
it can't be two-folded. It can't be two-folded because Ratty clearly point out, right? Is if she's to be elected to the position as Secretary General, she's not there as Secretary General for Jamaica. She's Secretary General for the organization.
Exactly.
Of which Jamaica is a part.
Exactly.
Right? But at that point, you forget the fact that she's Jamaican. She's just Secretary General for the organization.
And the next point is that there's no special. Just a point, Wesley. And the next point, Patrick, is that there's no special favors that she can do.
Exactly.
For Jamaica in that position.
Exactly.
She can't offer Jamaica any special favors
as
Secretary General.
But
there's nothing Jamaica gonna earn.
So why did the government spend so much money behind her?
When she talk about is a Jamaican campaign and not her campaign.
Yeah, but why did the government invest so much money into this campaign? Why?
To support her.
Prestige for the JLP. I think it's prestige for the Jamaica Labour Party.
But also, if you look at the companies, I mean, we're speculating, but there might be a way where business could be channeled because you're talking about, huge companies, Seprod, Grace Kennedy.
Big companies.
Big companies where,
it is laying the basis of corruption.
Yeah, but here's something else. Either way, no matter where them go, whether you say she get the gift from the government, there's a something called Circular 17, which is an administrative regulation issued by the Minister of Finance, and it says it's titled "Guidelines for the Acceptance of and Accounting for Gifts to the Government." Somebody have to fill that out. Either way, if you say it's her gift, she would have to fill it out as a government official. If you say it's to the government, somebody from the government side would have to fill it out, and no such form was filled out.
Right.
No such form.
But here's a bigger point right now that come out. The bigger thing that come out right now, in light of all of what we just outlined, is that every time she open her mouth, she dig herself in a deeper hole.
True.
Too much.
That's a spider on the web.
That's the point that's coming out.
Yeah.
Let me be an advocate and ask this question. Could this be an honest mistake on her part when she was filling out that form?
And I'll tell you why it can't be honest. No, she didn't fill out the form.
Out, so a mistake because she didn't fill out the form.
She didn't fill out the form. And here's what she said. Here's what she said why it's not a mistake. Why I agree with Patrick 100%. In her sworn affidavit, sworn on the 29th day of May 2023, in front of Justice of the Peace called Marcia Gilbert Roberts, who I'm being told was at one point the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. You see the connection, right? Here's why it cannot be a mistake. She said, "At no time did I receive any gift in either my personal or official capacity. At no time did I receive any gift in either my personal or official capacity." Then she's saying it's not a mistake. And also what she's saying is that I never have to file because I never receive any gift. You only file when you get a gift. So it wasn't a gift, so I never file.
If there is a mistake, if you make a mistake and you have numerous opportunities to correct yourself and you don't correct yourself, how can it still be a mistake?
Yes, Last.
I mean, how long ago was this campaign?
Last, let me tell you something. Last June 7th of last year, she did an interview on TVJ where she brought up this very issue about campaign financing. And she said, listen, you guys didn't ask me the question, but she said, I'm worried about it because people are talking about who financed the campaign. She said, this is a Jamaican government finance campaign and no other government is involved in it. She never tell them Sefin partners and the other people involved in it. Even though this was June and she had been receiving those benefits from April.
Too many opportunities.
April, May, and in June when she talked, she never mentioned it. And then she come and say, I never get. No, it cannot, like you said, from last year till now, Nita, she had so many opportunities. So many, well, she could have said, you know what? In retrospect, I made a mistake. I'm going to do the filing. But you know what? They never wanted the filing because they never want to name the people who get. And Morgan said that in Parliament. He said, I suspect that those people don't want their names to be known. How can you give a gift to the government of Jamaica and say you don't want your name to be known? It must be known because you fill out the gift form. So either way, the form was supposed to be filled out. Either way.
Who should fill out the gift?
You cannot blame the basis.
Persons
you can't blame the basis for possible
the person receiving the gift are both ways.
Hear me, gentlemen. For me, what it really shows is
Mikey, ask a question and I need it to answer, Mike.
Let me answer West's question, Mikey, with your permission. He's asking who should fill out the gift form. Should it be the person who received the gift or the government? It depends. If, for example, you say, I'm going to give a gift to the government, just, not a specific gift, but just give the gift to the government, then somebody, they have to designate somebody to sign off on that. That is unclear. But if you give a gift, if you receive a gift as a government employee, then you're responsible. In this case, she did. Look, when they did the consultancy services, it wasn't Minister Morgan who get the consultancy services. It was Minister Chang. It was Minister Williams. It was Minister Tufton. It wasn't even the Prime Minister. It's none of them. It's one person and one person only. She was supposed to do it. But even if you say, well, then, she shouldn't have done it. The government should have done it. The fact is, nobody did it.
Gentlemen, we have spent a long time on this topic.
Okay, I'm much clearer.
What is clear, though, and for me, as I said, is who is advising her and a lot of these folks, because they have their advisors, and it just show that where the money going. So on that, we can rest that for a time because I know.
Mikey, one thing
Hold
before you leave.
hold up, Wesley.
Just question, Mikey. I asked Rattigan last week if it could file in another
Jurisdiction.
area because if they throw it out. I just say you'll check that.
Yeah, they can't. They wouldn't be able to unless if you can show that there's corruption involved and that money that transfer to Fin Partners went through the SWIFT system. Then we would have, when I say we in America, they would have jurisdiction in the US for using the banking system.
Okay.
Well, Rattigan, you're a former FBI supervising agent.
Some
I
people say
know
I'm always so.
you're going to find information. You're going to find whichever way they hide
Yeah,
it.
I am.
But what
going
is
to.
critical? What is critical though is it shed a light on her advisors. In my view, you know who is advising her.
Michael,
Yeah,
let me read you the second she have her affidavit have 14 points tonight.
yeah.
Let me read you the second point. The first point, let me read you the first point. And then I read it, it's very short. First point, she said, I, Kamina Johnson Smith, make oath and say as follows. 1, I am a senator and the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade for Jamaica, and my address for the purposes of this affidavit is 2 Port Royal Street, Kingston. Second point, 4 words, the 6 words. I am also an attorney at law.
Okay.
Hello. Somebody write that for her, man.
Has she signed it?
Yeah, she signed it, but somebody. Patrick,
I can mention something too. I can mention something else to Ratty pertaining to the Glean article, the one you sent me, pertaining to what the Gleaner said about this and them filing this thing about you, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Supreme Court, when the case has not even been heard in the lower court yet, right? So
Right.
as far as that is concerned, all of that clearly is saying it's a sham because nothing couldn't go so. You couldn't jump over the court and go all the way to the Supreme Court for file, right? About Ratty's legitimacy, right?
Correct.
When it hasn't been heard in the lower court yet.
That's
the case
true.
hasn't been heard in the lower court yet. So it shows you how much they try to play the public,
That's true.
right?
Wait. That has to be heard in the lower court first before it go to the Supreme Court.
Of course.
Everything.
Not
course.
everything, bro. You can bypass the lower court and go straight to the Supreme Court.
No.
Yeah, but in this case, the civil court where we are dealing with now, them have to come up now and deal with the issue of standing. And then,
the standing.
right, and then you can appeal that.
Right, exactly.
The Supreme Court, who deal with standing? The Supreme Court.
No, well, actually, what happened is that the Supreme
Supreme
Court,
Court
it
will
have,
appeal.
them have the criminal division and the civil division, right?
Yes.
In the
Yeah.
civil division. So if them turn it down, I'd have to appeal to the appeals court.
Yes,
Right.
and they haven't done that.
No, that's what Patrick's saying. That them
Yeah.
are talk about something I forgot this. So, but with them haven't even listened to it yet in the court of
In the
first
local
instance.
court.
Right.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Now let's turn to curfew in Waterhouse. Last Thursday, Prime Minister Holness and his administration declared a curfew in Waterhouse. In his section of the area, from Balcom, the Unity Lane, go right up to Samarkand. Nothing in Towal nor nothing. But a 48 hours curfew. Last night I talked to the folks them and them said the curfew is a joke. I said, what you mean? Them said them policemen don't look like them come for look woman and drink half people wrong. I said, what you mean? Brethren, the man them take show a camera and everybody up on the road. You see right on this Arnold corner there, so the people just Mr. Arnold corner and laugh.
Party.
Them said curfew is a joke. The policeman them come in and want fuck the woman, they might about 2 women and drink. So
Mike,
said,
minor
damn.
language, Mike, minor language.
We said, damn, you get me, brethren, because if that is how the people perceive of the police, then police them can't control them community. They have to rely upon brute force. You understand me? They have to rely on brute force because them declare a curfew, they publish that you must be inside, and the people in the street.
Mikey,
Well, it's
yeah.
nothing new, you know,
Mikey,
because the thing
a lot
about
of
it is that when the police has become part of the problem and not part of the solution, that's really what you see happen.
yeah, Patrick. You know, like most things, the same thing happening with the case with Rattigan, the same thing happening with what the Prime Minister did in terms of the job descriptions.
Mhm.
It's just about public relations. It's about bending the mind of the public. It's not doing something that is effective. It is
Well,
trying
I'm
to
not
make,
sure. I'm not. Hold up, last. Hold up.
yeah.
Words on the ground is that the Prime Minister send words that certain things can happen certain things happen in our constituency.
Mm-hmm.
Because the curfew was just restricted to his part of Waterhouse that fall within his constituency. And people at them same send out words. So certain things have to stop. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but go ahead, finish what you're saying, bro.
Yeah. My point is that the government reach a point where they realize there are a lot of things they don't have the answers to. So it's like them stop trying to find answers to those problems. Them just trying to influence the public into believing that they're doing something. Sending the soldiers in the street and the police in the street is to make some people, when people in other parts of the country hear that the Prime Minister say have curfew, or the security forces have curfew in Waterhouse, they're going to think the security force is doing something. They're not going to know what you know, that the man them just come and just have a party. Them go and believe that the government doing something to affect crime. And it's all about public relations, right? It's the same thing that they did with the job description. It's all about public relations, making people believe that something is happening or they're doing something, right? When nothing effective is being done.
And a lame attempt too.
Yeah,
Because,
very lame.
because the more they do this is the more they lose credibility.
Of course. That is exactly why you see the polls start to trend in a different direction, right? Remember, I think it was in February when the Don Henderson polls said that people were saying no third term for this government. So
Yeah.
they realize that things are slipping and they don't have the answers. So if you don't have the answers, make believe.
You think that is what is happening?
Of course, I think that's what's happening.
But it's not working. It's not working because the poll from the PMP show that it's not working. So if he's only a madman that keep on a bang him against the wall and not realize something, nothing changed.
But they say it's a bogus poll.
Yeah, and then say that them are overreact. You understand me? But I am not so troubled by the poll. I'm not troubled by the poll because what I'm hearing right now, the PMP in some serious problem, bro. And the poll is one thing, but getting the people to come out, mobilize the people and get them into the ballot box is another problem. Most of those who are showing a preference for the PMP right now are really PMP supporters, not independent. You understand me? And with that said, there's serious division within the People's National Party. We know of it.
You know of that?
So Mike, what you're saying then is that the problem the PMP faces is that even with the decline in support for the JLP, it doesn't equal a greater support for the PMP.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. That's what I'm saying.
So that's an issue for the PMP to deal with.
Yeah.
Yes. For a long time, it's been an issue, Patrick. Remember, I think it was last year July that the same Don Henderson polls showed that showed the difficulties that the PNP was having in attracting new voters, right? And one of the reasons that, as we see, is that the leadership crisis in the party, and that the PNP weren't really, and still probably not doing anything on the ground, right? They're not doing a lot of organizing, plus them propaganda is very weak. I mean, the PNP for the last couple of years has been trying to work whatever little propaganda about corruption that they can, and trying to whip up anti-government some sentiments against the government, and it has not been working, right? For most part, it has not been working, right?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. One of the things we have to be careful of is that we don't get swept into looking at the issues in terms of just PNP, GLP, right? But really look at more in terms of where the people are. Because that's really what really matters to us more than anything else, right? What matters to us more than anything else in terms of the kind of leadership that we'll see emerge is really about where are the people right now, right?
Fear.
Where are the people right now in terms of their understanding of what's going on, right? They're speaking to the issues, right? And what they're experiencing. Because that's our job. Our job is really to bring clarity to the people, right? And bring the truth and bring what matters to them, right? Where there's misunderstanding, we do our best to try and clear up that, right? If it generates itself in terms of a support for the PNP, and it's a support for the PNP which we don't consider legitimate, it's our business to say that too.
Personally, I'm not really sure about all of what Patrick just said. I'm not sure because, listen to me. The people, let me just back up. The GLP is known for turning on violence and turning it off. And I'm pretty much sure that there's some thinking along that line. With this poor result, I think the Jamaican people need to look out for increased violence, especially in the tourist areas. Okay? And also, you're going to see Holness use a state of emergency more because he knows, and like many of us know that, fear is what allowed this government to stay in office. And they will turn on the fear.
I understand what you say 100%, and I'm right there with you on that. Absolutely right there with you on that.
They will turn on the violence and drive votes down through fear.
Huh?
They will turn on the violence and get the older people not to come out.
I heard you, and I heard you, and I agree with you 100%. Right? But what I'm saying is, right, as far as we're concerned, right, our concern is not to deal with the shenanigan, right, what the government might come up with, right, except to expose it for what it is, right? But at the same time, it's not a matter that at the same time we are saying that automatically it means that we're handing anything to the PNP as well if the PNP not doing their work, right? If the PNP sees the opportunity to do the work and organize themselves in a much better way, right, to emerge as leadership, right, legitimately, then I can't say to anyone, then that's where you need to lay your support, right? Or you need to even consider it.
Wesley, you're on the ground. What the vibration on the ground? What you?
The vibration on the ground is that. All right, look at the poll.
Is Is there any thinking about this violence turning up and off?
I don't think there's appetite.
I don't get that. I don't get that there will be any increased violence at this time, right? Because the violence is already up. So I don't get that. But we can look at out there because some issues raised that the PMP, if the PMP wasn't working on the ground, yes, the PMP is not where it should be. It's not where it should be. Because the PMP was in a splintered, it was a splintered organization up to a year ago. That time GLP were leading them 13 points. 13 points. Right? In terms of Mark Golding and Andrew. Andrew was way ahead of Mark Golding in terms of leadership, in terms of leadership. So for the PMP to reach and pass, make on it's 13 points, you have a 13-point deficit. And now you have a 32 or a 37 points ahead. So you have to be working to make up that ground and put yourself ahead. They are not working as how they should be working and building the organization wildly underground. But they are underground. They are underground in the parishes, right? That every night when I watch my TV, or especially the weekends, you see Mark on Sunday and Monday, because what happened over the weekend, you see it in the Monday news, right? So is in there. There was a across the island motorcade with Mark down in the west, about 3 in last month, right? And it was over 2,000 cars was in that island-wide motorcade, right? So they are moving, they are working, but they need to work some more. So I don't want you to think that the people is not with the GLP. The GLP hardcore is still there. PMP has lost as the poll, the poster, that the name Anderson said. PMP has lost us 160,000 votes at the last period. And why the uprise in the percentage now is seeing that 160,000, some of that 160,000 people coming back into the PMP, right? So that's why you have that. So you don't have a full $100,000, people. So therefore, if you have that 160,000 people coming in back, it means then that the PMP will rise much more above the GLP. In terms of the people who says that they will not vote for the PMP or the GLP, right, it still remain high. In terms of that undecided, some people say that they will not vote for the PMP or the GLP. It's about 50% or something like that, 40-some, 30-some percent. And you have an undecided thing is about the next 30-something percent, right? So none of them is getting anything from the undecided. But what you are having when you look at the poll and the polls is that the party diehards are rolling for the GLP. They lose 4,000 votes. 4,000 votes in the last election. They said according to the poster. When he calculates that, none of those people don't return to them as yet. So therefore, they are still at their 13 or little more, while the PMP is moving. What we need to do when we are assessing the thing, right? If there is credit to be given, we give credit, because that is what we are here for. If we want to uncredit something, we uncredit it, right? But we must reason balancedly and look.
I don't understand when you say credit. I don't understand when you say
properly.
I don't
What do you
understand when they
understand?
say give credit and uncredit. I don't understand that because
What I mean,
listen,
I can explain that.
no,
I can
yeah, go
explain.
ahead.
You say you don't understand. If we are saying that the PNP is not doing any work, the PNP have to be doing some work on the ground for that to happen, for they to rise to the poll, right? In the lead of the what is happening now. See? So therefore you have to give credit to that. That's what I'm saying. Because you cannot say somebody is not doing anything, but yet still they are moving up. They have to be doing something. It's like
Not
a child going
necessarily, Wesley. Not necessarily.
in the
Not necessarily. I don't
yeah, you
totally
have to be
agree with
doing
it.
something for me, for you to come up. You have to be doing something for you to say, well, I am
No,
going back down the road.
no.
Something have to be happening down the road.
Listen with one possibilities that might be happening right now. You see, the GLP has made a lot of missteps over the last year or so, right? The last one being the salary
Salary.
increase, which was a big,
The salary thing with everybody.
which affected a wide cross section of people, right? They have been losing support on a lot of these issues. It don't necessarily mean that the PNP has been doing anything that make them garner support and make the GLP. The GLP has been shooting themselves in the foot without the help of the PNP, right? When you
But
look at
last, but in that in what you said there last, it would mean then that if you are not doing anything, you would still be at 13, last. You have to be doing something. People don't just
Wesley,
move because
Wesley, let him.
you are no last. I'm in disagreement with that.
Wesley,
No, Mikey, we
yeah,
are in a discussion, Mikey, and we
I
can
don't mind
disagree.
I don't mind the disagreement, Wesley. All I am saying is that
it's
for the most
mathematics. It's
no, listen me out. For the most part,
move. If you are not doing anything, you stay still.
for the most part, a lot of the support that has shifted the polls is not necessarily because of what the PNP is doing, right? It's because a lot of it is because of what the JLP has been, a lot of the missteps that the JLP has been doing, right?
They are breaking last.
Remember,
I'm not hearing you last.
I don't know if you hearing me now.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you hearing me
you
now? Yeah. The salary thing.
Go on again.
Continue talking.
I think it frees up a little.
Yeah,
Continue.
the salary, the impact of the salary increase, it affected such a wide cross section of the country that is independent of anything that the PNP did, right? The PNP didn't have to do anything to make people disaffected with the GLP over the salary issue, right? And they would have lost support, right? Even from them own GLP people, right? Because a lot of GLP people believe that this salary increase was not justified, right? That has nothing to do with the PNP. I remember the other day when Andrew made a comment about the media entrepreneurs. I don't know if you guys saw.
Yeah, I saw it.
If you guys saw the video with him saying, okay, these people are criticizing everything that we are doing, and yes, we are losing some support, but all we have to do is kick. I'm paraphrasing him, right? He said, all we have to do is kick our machinery into gear, and we can overcome whatever deficit that we are at right now. You know why I think he said that? Because he knows that they have a more organized presence in the constituencies than the PNP, right? So he is able to say that because when he looks, the GLP is in power. They are more organized than the PNP, right? And Andrew is looking and saying, yes, we are losing some support, but the support is not substantial enough that if we kick our organization on the ground, we can overcome it and still beat the PNP. That's what he said.
I wanna throw something into to your point, plus, because you make a very important point right there, right? And I want you to pay close attention, Wesley, right, to what Last just said, because that is so crucial. Remember, the discussion started with Michael saying that, you know, what the Dananis poll says, right? And brought out the fact that it doesn't equal to increase support for the PNP, right? That was one thing, vital point for us to consider. Then, of course, Last even shed more light on it, right? To say that, okay, the GLP, as much as they have lost ground, right, they're tuning in to what they need to do to try and regain the ground that they lost, right? To try and still see how they can carve out a win, right, if an election is to be called. Because that's how the game is really played, right? Polls is one thing, but polls is not the only thing, right? Because they're going to look at it all around in terms of the level of organization. They're going to look at it relative also to them opposition, right?
Patrick, let me share something.
The opposition can't be sitting and sleeping. But the piece I want to throw in is this, right? The piece I really want to throw in is this. There's an article that came out in the Miami Herald, right? I noticed the Miami Herald, right? I speak to the whole situation with Wellness and Jamaica, right? The progress that is being made despite the blunders and all of that. Right to Lass's point. And I think I sent it to you, Ratty.
Yeah.
Right? What it is saying is that...
Can you send it to me, Patrick?
Yes, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah.
Even though the JLP might be losing ground, they're not going to sleep on it. They're not going to sleep on losing ground. Them still looking at how them can still carve out a win, right? If an election is to be called. Which is all the more reason why the PNP can't sit back complacently and figure that, okay, with them losing ground, it means automatically a chance with them to win. It don't work like that.
Yeah, just a minute. Can I say something here? I cannot speak from experience, okay? If, and I said this after talking with some elders last night, if Golden does not move himself from Bunting, he's not going to see Jamaica House. Because in Jamaica, let me finish, my brethren. Let me finish. Within the People's National Party, there's a strong dislike for Peter Bunting that's turned off a number of activists, people who usually go out and do the organizing work. I can mention a name, you know, but I won't do that. But it has turned off a number of activists within the People's National Party to the point where they say, I will only work for him if Bunting is not involved. That is where it reached. There are people move beyond that to know identifying risers and who are not risers. Second point. Let me finish. Second point. In Balcom Drive, a traditional PNP stronghold, the GLP is active from Balcom Drive, go right up Seaward Drive. Active organizing in Waterhouse, and they have made gains. Today is the Waterhouse Divisional Conference, and I hope they're going to speak to that because you see the organizing. People are surprised that this is happening. under Hilton. And there's doubts because he won West St. Andrew by 2,000 votes, the bulk of which came out of Waterhouse. The very same place where people just, you them just don't deal with Hilton. Hilton is a waste man. That is a quotation they use. It's a difficult time sometimes when I say to them, no man, but let us give him a chance and see what him do. Can do something. I point out some things with him do, you know. Man, I'm saying, no man, a waste man that. Waste man that. So the PMP and Golden face a dilemma, which is utilize Bunting with all his talent and skill and keep him in the background. And Golden Star step out on his own.
All right.
Yeah, but
I can make a point. I make a point.
No, one second, Wesley. Why did why you speak more to Micah? When I say I wanted you to expand on it, is the fact that Bunting is the one who brought Golding to the leadership.
Because of what the people them say as some under and biz of Peter Phillips. And there's I'm not sure if you know about this WhatsApp group where there's some message pass and it just turn off a lot of people.
Mike, if you don't know, if you don't sure, we don't say those things on our program. If we don't, we cannot.
No.
So let us not, as a program, listen to me, as a credible program, you notice I use credibility all the while. We don't want to hear say.
Wesley,
we can discuss it in our. What am Mikey? The program make me say something now, Mikey. I don't want to use no year setting, right? And I was speaking on this program. We must have a credible program. So when we speak, we must speak from factual thing, right? Let us just say something. What the name? Bunting is not running again in the election.
Wait. Let me speak to the ear setting that you said. Because that seems like that's what you're saying. I'm in touch with a number of organizers in Kingston and St. Andrew, Region 3. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm not only in touch with them, my family members are involved in organizing stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I have comrades on the ground organizing stuff. The people who I talk with are activists in Jamaica. Organized, independent mind. And the view, if you don't listen to me, but go on Facebook and you'll see the hostility towards Peter Phillips from Trevor Phillips' daughter. You'll see it there. It's not the hearsay. And it's like there's an hostility towards Mark, and only that has to do with his relationship with Peter Bunting. Because Bunting is seen as the man who is stirring the pot from behind the scene. That is the fact. Nobody can deny that.
Mikey. Bunting and Mark are friends from school days. So Bunting and Mark will always be friends. Me and you are brethren from the 70s. There will nobody on this program or any program could have said that me must talk to you. I don't know if them would couldn't tell you that. Right? So therefore, Mark and Bunting declared that he won't run representational politics in Jamaica anymore. Right? So if Bunting is not running representational politics in Jamaica, it means then that, right, regardless of anything, Mark and Wyman are going to be friends because they are business partners together. Right? So they are directors in their business, they are business partners in many things. So they will talk. Right? But in terms of the politics, Bunting is not in the politics anymore. Same like Lisa said that she's not going back representational politics for the PNP. I don't know if she will go anywhere else. I don't know if
Wesley, let me get this straight. Are you saying there's not a division in the People's National Party?
No, make a finish. That is not the case. There's always a division in the People's National Party. I am not a member of the People's. Now I'm a political person. There's always and all of us know, right? There's always a division in the People's National Party. There was a divisional when we were when we were growing up in the party between Tony Spalding and Michael Manley, right? There was a divisional thing between
DK Duncan,
PJ and others, and the biggest division is when Portia take to the party leadership. That brings the biggest division. And it carries on into Peter Phillips, right? And it carries on into Mark. Because what they divided the party to be in sectors instead of party people. I am going with Mikey, because Mikey is my friend. And I'm going with Patrick, because Patrick is my friend. So we split the party between Patrick and Mikey. And because we split the party, there was nobody man and woman enough to sit and care about those people together to galvanize the party. So there's always a division in the party. I am not saying there's not a division in the party, and that is what people is down here is saying that need to come forth and that need to deal with. But the point that I am making, there is nobody, you cannot say people just automatically because of what I'm named there, just do things wrong. The PNP just get in right name there. You have to be doing work for people to come back to the fold. And you have to be doing work. What you are doing, if it's the poll is saying that out of the 163,000 people who basically didn't vote last election, the sign is showing that this 63,000 people, a great percentage of that is saying that we are coming back into the party.
Let me ask this. Right? I don't want to dominate. Let me ask you a question. I have a question. Name me one new organization, the PNP built in Jonestown since 1980. Name me one
new organization. The people who are in the year are lazy people. The councillors are lazy councillors. The councillors are the one who on the ground in the division. Are the councillors to do that? So you can't say what am I making? So we have to deal with politics. We know politics. Me and you know politics. Me and Last know politics. We did in the politics on the ground. Right? The politics is that the persons on the ground have to take charge of the ground because they know the ground, right? So the councillors who are on the ground in Jonestown are lazy councillors. The councillors who are on the ground in Waterhouse are lazy people. Right, and not only the laziness, because of the economics of it at the time, they don't have sufficient money even for themselves, and the PNP is not in power as a government, so therefore the JLP starved the council and starved the this and starved the that. We have to look at it from that standpoint. Not that the councillors will be getting some more money. I think the councillors will be able to do sufficient work because that is what they are saying. They didn't have money and they couldn't go out because they don't have sufficient money for bus fare and having meetings and so forth.
Wesley,
let me hear from the other folks. Yeah. Let us hear from the others.
I want to ask you a question, Wesley.
Yes.
So, I'm a citizen living in Jonestown. Because my thinking is that it's not just the local representative who affect how people vote or how people want to vote.
Yeah.
Right? My question is, do you believe the ordinary citizen of Jonestown can come to you and or me and tell us what is the PNP strategy or housing strategy for Jonestown, or what is the PNP strategy for youth inside of Jonestown? If
Our Waterhouse.
our Waterhouse, if these people want to vote for a party that is dealing with a particular issue, can anybody in a Jonestown or Waterhouse tell us what is the PNP, what would the PNP do if the PNP came into power for youths in a Waterhouse, or for housing in a Waterhouse, or for redevelopment in a Waterhouse?
And
You
all
think?
right, finish it off.
And yeah, I'm finished.
Yeah, and that's where I go back to the whole leadership on the ground and at the top, because the leadership on the ground, you are the leader on the ground. It's just like you have your troop. You is a commander on the ground level. You have your troop that you follow, that you servicing and trooping with. You are the ones who have to identify the problems on the ground from the troops and say, this is what's happening, and you carry to your leadership, and you demand your leadership to come inside the place and speak to the people them on the ground. So the thing is that the bottom is not coming up to the top, and the top is not going down to the bottom or meet themselves in our, and that is where we need to start. That is where the PNP needs to start, where they are not doing, in spaces where they are not doing, and then you can identify the different things. And so far, I don't hear the PNP come out with a housing program. Right? I spoke to Mark the other day at a funeral. I think it was what the name? Delano's funeral.
Delano.
Yes, he was at Delano's funeral, right? And I spoke to him in terms of some housing thing and so forth, right? And some other people who were in site and services from those days, who have the knowledge, and so said that they need to set up something that we can put a committee together to look at the housing situation in Jamaica, and cheap housing and affordable housing, not cheap, affordable housing, right? And how it can happen, and how you can rebuild sections of Jonestown, sections of Waterhouse, section of the inner city that is decaying. So the PNP needs to do that, right? The PNP needs to have a policy in terms of their health care. Because the three major things outside of unemployment in Jamaica is health care, housing, and unemployment. Those are the three major points that people speak on roads, right?
What about crime and violence?
Crime and violence is there. Crime and violence is there. But I'm saying outside of that, the areas got crime and violence, people speak on crime and violence every day. Right?
So Wesley, you know why I ask you that question?
Yes.
Is that when you look at the poll, the same poll here, it is saying that from July last year, the undecided people was like 51% were undecided, right? Which party?
Not 51, 30 something.
No, last year, July, 51%.
Last
year, July, it was 51%. It fell, right? I think in February, early this year, right? That poll, I think it was in February. It fell to like 36%, right? And now it has gone up back to 44, almost 45%, right? So while the amount of undecided is increasing again, this poll is showing that the PNP has gained some support. So where's that support coming from?
And if it's the support, and if you are following the discussion, although the undecided is there, you did still have 10 people in your classroom, for example, right? In the last week when you kept school, 5 persons come to school, right? This week, 7 people come to school. So that is what's happening. You have 10 people in the classroom. When you start out a month ago, 10 people were in the classroom. 7 drop out over the week. You only have 3 constant people in the classroom. And then over the days, more people coming back to the classroom. So that is where it is. Not as I say, and the poll is saying that the PNP don't get any new support from the undecided, neither the JLP. But what is happening? The people who support the PNP is returning to the PNP and saying that. So that is where the support is coming from. Not the undecided. You're talking about
can we hear from Patrick
who were turned off from the party because of the division in the party between from the Porsche come right up, and they have more than 9, 10, maybe a good 8 years worth of war within the party. So that is where the support is coming from their main support of people who they have. The GLP not getting anything because the polls also say X amount of people the GLP lose, and those people don't come back to the GLP as yet.
Wesley, can we hear from Patrick?
The undecided grow. So therefore, between undecided who were thinking that they may vote for the GLP or vote for the PNP, that close again.
All right. Wesley. Let us hear from Patrick and Rattigan. Give them a time to comment and say something. You know, we can't take it up the discussion between me, you, and Lass. So we have Rattigan. Just a minute, Wesley. Wesley, you're talking enough now, bro. Give man a time.
I don't say I must not. Yeah, we don't want. But Mikey, you are saying that. You are saying that nobody else is speaking.
What's up, Rattigan?
That's not fair, Mikey.
No, my issue with the polling is that it never really look at the young people, the people who are going to be first-time voters, right? Because Jamaica, I forgot the median age, but it's a young population. And so we have to take into account those people. And why do we take those people into account? Because those people they're using something called social media. And I think social media is going to play a significant role in the next election and elections to come. This is a phenomenon that is essentially new on the Jamaican political landscape. And we're going to find out how significant it is this election cycle. For example, the Jamaican government, no matter which government is in, them have a certain control over the press, the traditional press, traditional media. And so you get, including JIS, and so you get what the government wants you to hear and feel and understand. Social media is uncontrollable by the government, uncontrolled by the government. They have no control over it, and it's one of those things that it's a thorn in the side of the JLP right now, because when you have a program like this program, think about this. 50 years ago, you never have something like this where you can express your views and we're in different places, and somehow we can come together, right? And then you have programs that are critical of the government. This program, I would say this program is more analytical of what the government is doing. But then you have some programs that are critical of the government, and they have no control over those programs. They have no control over the dissemination of information. So the Clark's booty and the bike riding and all them things that used to happen or happen up to the last election cycle, I think that's about to change. And what I would like to see is, as far as the PNP is concerned, the opposition, is what outreach. And somebody, I don't remember who, I think it was Patrick, somebody was asking Wesley about the strategy towards certain segments of the population. I forgot who said, if you got Johnson, if you ask, it was last who asked, if you ask somebody.
Michael.
Michael asked, yeah. And they said, can they relate that to you? If you ask them, say, what is the PNP strategy towards youth development in your community? Can they do that? They need to go out and start doing the outreach. Now, one of the things that I noticed, and Wesley, you're there on the ground, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm open to being fully corrected, is that at least the videos I see is of Mark Golding preaching to the choir. Meanwhile, you have a lot of converts out there, or you have a lot of independents waiting to be converted, or undecided waiting to be converted. I would like to see him speak to those people. I get sick and tired of watching him talk to a bunch of people, and all of them have on the same shirt. I mean, I said, but him I talk to him own people, him not increasing base, him not increase the message, him not increase the outreach. Reach out to them people as well. You have these people already. They're like captives. They're like captive audience, right? Wherever you go, those people go and support you. Reach out to the other people who have either strayed from the party or people that you're trying to convert to come to the party. And I don't see that happening. The other thing with the leadership, you know, I've met with Mark. I sat down with him I think it was last year, for 3 hours. And I'm telling you, bright, incisive thinker, nice guy, personable, fully aware of the issues. But I don't know if he has that decisiveness, that killer instinct, that the essence of leadership, where people just see you and them psyche just say, them soul just say, me I'll follow that man. I don't think him, if he has it, I don't think he's displayed it to his full potential. And that goes to who's advising him as well, because I'm sure he's listening to people around him and they're telling him, do this, do that. But sometimes you have to step out of that and say, me, I'm going to be my own man and be that person who you want to be or who you are. Don't be reined in by all these people, posters and all these people that tell you things. Just go with your passion, go with your gut. And like I said, he's a people person, genuine people person. And I just wish and hope and pray that if he's really, really serious about this, first thing is that, or one of the things is that you cannot make this a part-time job. The stakes are too high. You can't be doing this over here and then, you know, upon the weekend you do this. And this is something you have to just fully commit yourself to. If you say you want to be prime minister, given the stakes, given everything that's going on, this is a time to provide salvation to the people of Jamaica. Jamaica people want full-time salvation. Them don't want part-time salvation because they've been promised prosperity, and you see where that brought them. The prosperity was prosperity for the people who were preaching prosperity. Them prosper, but the people not prosper. No, in terms of providing salvation, Mark Wallen, the slogan is time come. The question is, time come for what? I don't know what time come for. But if it's salvation, he needs to just immerse himself in it fully and make people understand who you are. Somebody mentioned last night on a program that in time to come, they will understand him. I said, but somebody said, but we don't have the time. Election, the election must be called
2024.
2025.
2025.
Right. So then I say, and we're not 2023 now. So them say we don't have the time. Him have to do them things. Yeah, no. If that is what him really want to do, him have to do them things. Yeah, no. And that's my take.
Patrick.
Okay, good contribution.
I can in responding, I can go several places on this, and I'm gonna try and be as best as possible, be concise, right? But what was going through my mind as we started on this discussion was that, to some degree, we're speaking around the issues, right? And why I say that is because there's no way we can address what is to be done without first looking at where we're coming from and to where we are now. Because from where we're coming, that brings us to the point where we are now, right? And when I do that, right, I can do it to the degree that I would want to do it. I can do it to the degree of 1972 coming forward, or I can go back further, right? I can go back to 62 or even further. But like I said, in an effort to be concise, right, I want to say this, first of all, right? When I think about the PNP leadership, for example, today, several times I have to remind myself who is really the party leader, right? And sometimes it's almost like you have to remind yourself that the PNP party still exists, right? Because right now, these are kind of the options that we look at, because that's how the Jamaican politics is structured, and a two-party system, right? Of PNP or JLP, right? And it is structured that way for several reasons. It's part of what was born out of the colonialism, right? And it's a whole lot of things that have not been addressed and not been corrected. And the only way to address it and correct it, right, is complete revolution. And when I say revolution, I'm not talking about this revolution, the slogan, which people are accustomed to and where some people fear, because they fear it because of what they commonly call the Red Scare, the anti-communism. But the bottom line is that people have become more educated about who they are, right, and what it means when it comes to citizenship and so on, right? Even in terms of independence, is something that dupe us about, because we were never dependent on the colonialists to begin with. So it's not that we became independent because we were dependent on them. No. Right? We only got a chance to start to build our independence since 1962, but not much has been done in that regard either. We have only become more colonialized. Right? Because we still remain under their legal structure. We still remain under their false educational structure. Right? We're still stumbling to do things the correct way. Right? Because everything we learn is what we learn from the colonialists. We haven't developed our own way yet.
I learned from my mother some things.
Right? So I only say that because all of what we're arguing about here about the polls and the support and all of that. No, the party has to do work from the ground up to build support. That's how support works. Because your support is not just to win the election. Your support is to move Jamaica forward, right? And moving Jamaica forward means that it benefits all citizens of Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And that's why I said it.
Let me say
the community level. And the people who are at the bottom of the community need to help to grow it, because that is the base of the majority of the people at in the communities.
No, let me say this. I hear Wesley, but I don't agree with Wesley, because politics is probably less than 1% of the ordinary people's life in Jamaica. Politics, their involvement. Okay, the People's National Party offer itself as an alternative to the GLP government. In Waterhouse, there's no organization on the ground. None whatsoever. The PNP only get through based on a traditional love for the party in the area. But there's no organization on the ground that is say, okay, we're going to move people in this direction. Nothing. We have aspiration, yes, but we have some groups. Yes, we have a few groups. And those groups function as service club. That's how they function. MP come and him just drop something else and then just disperse.
Mikey, I want to say something along the lines of what you're talking about. Imagine this. The man who ran against Hilton in the last election is a man who has been absent from the political scene in Jamaica since around 1979, 1980.
Darlan Francis.
Darlan was a farmer. Young Jamaica leader. And Darlan has been absent from most about 1977 or 19, how long?
And went to Canada and everything.
And Darlan come back to Jamaica, it must be about 2 years ago or how long ago, and gave Hilton. So if it wasn't for Waterhouse, Darlan could have won.
That is
what is that saying? What is that saying about the PNP organization?
There's no organization. Right? It is just an organization atop where the man at the top do the stuff. But the actual work on the ground.
I want to make this point, Mikey, that both parties need to look deeper at the polls other than which party is ahead and which party is behind. Because the poll gives some insight as to the reasons, some of the reasons why people are disaffected with the GLP, right? And both parties need to take some note of this, because the poll was saying that part of the reasons that people were giving, right, for them disaffection with the political parties was what the high cost of living. 69% of the people raise the high cost of living as a reason for disaffection. 48% raise lack of opportunities for employment. 40% raise issues around corruption. And I don't know if Wesley can remind me of the percentage that were concerned about crime, but it was also a very significant percentage. But I did not make note of that. But what I'm saying is that both parties, and the PNP in particular, have to take note of these levels of disaffection and to address them while they're going around the island. Because Wesley mentioned about Bunting going on the ground and Bunting going here. Politicians, Golding, sorry. Golding going here and Golding going there. Politicians moving around them constituency is not the same as organization. Just as though Owners could say, when we are ready, we can kick our organization into gear and deal with whatever deficit. The PNP should be able to say, when we are ready, we can kick our organization into gear in all of these communities, right? To get people to get people understanding the party program, to get people understanding what we are proposing on housing, what we are proposing on youth, what we are proposing as an alternative to fighting crime inside of the country. And right now, that is lacking coming from the PNP, for people them to see them as an organized alternative to the PNP, to the GLP.
Last.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing
yes.
pertaining to what you just said?
Yeah.
Right? Because this is where we really need to take the discussion. Right? And I'm glad you raised it that the way you raised it, right? But I just want to expand on it some more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you remember I mentioned when I started out in terms of we look back to move forward. If we recall, when Manley came to power in 72, we think first about what brought him to that landslide victory in 72. Right? It was that thirst, right? Literally a starvation, right? For opportunities, a starvation for just about everything. Housing, all of the things that were mentioned, right? One of the first things that Manley did, right? One of the first things that Manley did, if you remember, was establish the Jamal program. Have we ever stopped and questioned ourselves why he went that route as one of the first things to do? Right? It's simply to really raise the whole level of literacy, right? So that we can start building understanding through organization. It was the core. It was the core. The way in which we operate as Jamaicans and so on, understandably, coming out of where we're coming out of, right, is our ignorance, right? Our lack of education, lack of understanding and all of that. Education has to be the core organization, right? But organization has to be the key for open the door, right? Because that's how you're going to build ground support. That's how you're going to build, you're going to develop, period. Right? Whichever direction you want to go. Right? But the whole thing about it is, in order to move forward, right, the organization has to start developing on the ground.
And that is the point. That's the point I'm making. It's one thing to go out and touch base, you know, but you're not building an organization on the ground.
Exactly.
That's not happening. And I'm saying that if for the PNP to move forward, and I talked to a top-ranking PNP man last night. See? Well, a rebel. And you know what he said to me? He said, listen, Golden need to step away from bunting. I hear Wesley say that he's not in representational politics no more, but he's still a part of the Senate and he's involved. The brethren said to me, if Golden want to be accepted by the Jamaican people, he need to step away from bunting shadow. That's how he put it. And I was like, what? He said, yes, this is how deep the thing is.
But Michael, if I can say something to that point now where you're raised, a better way I would have put it is this. Golden need to build his own consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, independent.
Build his own consciousness. So even if Bunting bring him to the table, Bunting don't have to become in crutch. Right? To be at the table.
Brother, there's a serious division within the People's National Party. See, I tell you this. I know a very hard-working woman, activist, Karen Cross. You right? From Mulanja, long-time PNP organizer. You type in her name in Facebook and you see what's happening there.
But Mikey, she coming like we call that to the PNP now, like
exactly
like poison.
Exactly. And this is a PNP activist, Region 3 organizer.
Poison to the present PNP.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Well,
Karen Cross.
I don't think anybody in the present PNP would even mention Karen Cross.
No. And then there's another fraction built up around Damian Crawford. Him should be the leader. What? Just watch it, man. It's dangerous, bro. They have to do work. So, I think we have exhausted this thing.
Not exhausted, but guys,
it's been a lot of time, honey. A long time. Another problem I want to touch, I don't know if we have the time, you see, but a virgin said to me last night, we need to talk about the youths them who don't want to work, them who want to do road and smoke ganja in Jamaica. Them know regardless of what you do for them. Them just every man stop on the corner and dig out him hand and then them go do road. What is this do road? Do road is that drinking every drinking all day drinking alcohol, white rum, and smoke ganja. You know.
What that road is, Mikey?
Do road, man.
Oh, them are do road.
Yeah, when I said about do road.
Here's the thing, Michael. Here's the thing I would have said to that point there.
Where that come from?
Yeah, here's what I would have said to where you're raising now. That's a big part of what I think we need to look at. What we right here need to look at. Again, we look at since Ratty starting program, it's like an explosion take place. People who never used to tune into YouTube and global radio and online talk show and all of them things there. You know, all of a sudden everybody start take interest and everybody have something to say and all of that. Since that happened, you revived the whole Waterhouse thing on a whole different basis. And what is happening? People start pay attention. That is telling you a story right there. We have our role. We need to define our role right here and expand on it.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. That is what that is saying to me. Right? There's a whole lot of things we can do.
Yeah, but
right
I
from
don't
where we
know.
are.
I don't know what we can do because they were complaining to me that amongst the youth them that want to the bad don't want to work. Them just want to stand up on the corner, dig out them man, and them a do road. And do road, when I'm saying do road is Campari and White Rum.
Beg.
Yes.
Beg.
Yes.
Beg.
But here's
People
the thing.
go down
Here's
the road
thing.
and you beg a drink. And
Yeah,
everybody who
Campari,
pass,
White Rum.
you beg there. That is what
Yeah.
the road. They feel like they're supposed to beg. And it's a culture that creeps in our society that we
Where
don't
they come from?
I
Where
don't
that-
understand
where
it
that come
neither.
from?
And
What-
because of laziness. Laziness is one, and because it's just like a man never worked for a long while.
Well,
You never have no work. You wake up in the morning. You don't have no for go. You don't go to school. You don't. If they we all have that, you know. You have
Wesley,
the art.
Wesley.
Yes.
This is where now we have to gauge our judgment. Right? We have to be careful what we say, right? Because words have impact. Right? Judgment.
A lot of people don't want to work.
No, hold on. Just hear me out for a second. Because Michael asked a question. So I'm gonna address the question directly. Right? What Michael asked. Right? To a youth was never been introduced to guidance. Right? A youth was never been introduced, right, to what it means to grow and become an adult. A youth was never been introduced to what it means to be alive, period. Because when you look at it, all of these are shortcomings of the educational system. Because that's essentially what the educational system was designed for, or are supposed to be designed for. Right? We look at ourselves to begin with. What makes us different? What makes us different is because of the experiences we have had, right? And how it has educated us to bring us to where we are. And education is not something we only take place in the classroom. Right? I must say that too. Right? This right now that we are doing right here is a part of the educational process. I'm here to learn as much as I'm here to give what I have to give.
But do road, where is this coming from?
Eh?
And this do road thing, where is it coming from?
It is coming from the idle mind.
Term, Mike. It's just a term like what everybody calls it.
It's coming from the idle mind. And I'm going to go as far as to say laziness as Wesley would have put it. But to say that really, right? The youth nowadays, what options do they have?
It's Patrick, is a very complex question. You know why? Because there are so many contributing factors to this thing. Because we can always say lack of opportunities, but when you look at it, as Wesley said, there's heart and there are numerous programs, government programs, and other programs that some of these youths could have participated in. But look at it this way. The system has broken down for such a long time that you have some youths who I don't think will ever reach them. You know why? Them find alternative to the system to survive. So the system no longer have no influence over them.
Yeah, but we're not gonna be the ones to determine that. They're gonna have to determine that for themselves.
No, that's the reality. No, that's the reality.
Yeah, but they're gonna have
Not
to
for these
determine
youths.
that for themselves.
Well, they already determine it.
Right?
These youths already determined, say, the system, whatever opportunities the government are create for them, whether through heart or through many of the numerous programs, is not for them anymore, because them already create an alternative in terms of scamming, in terms of extortion,
But
and
here's the thing.
it's profitable to them. It's profitable.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It might be lucrative for them, right? Profitable for them, but it ain't good for the society. It's something that we're not gonna be prepared to put up with.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, Patrick. That's the thing. When we are come up, we have a sense of community. In our time, community was the important thing to us, right? We community means so much, right? That we try everything to make the community better. These youths right now have lost that contact, right? That affiliation with community. Community mean nothing to them. They will kill, rob, burn down the same community where them living in. And it don't mean anything to them. The system has lost them. And you have to blame the system too. You can't blame them youth there, but you have to blame the system because it is over. It is neglect over years and years and years. Make a lot of them youth a cop out.
Yeah, but as I said, remember I started out saying that, I said we have to look back, right? And look at where we're coming from, because that is what brings us to where we are today.
Yes, and I agree with you. It still don't mean say
that is what is gonna be the determining factor in terms of how we move forward.
Exactly.
Right? So the fact of the matter is, we can look at the conditions now and chew up here and say, why it is what it is.
No.
So we just accept it and that's it. No.
When all is said and done, I agree. When all is said and done, all the things where I say about the society losing these youths and whatever, when all is said and done, we still have to find some means to reach them, to organize them, to make them see things in a different way.
Yeah.
And that is the challenge we face.
Yeah.
You know?
You finished last?
Yeah, man.
I'm going to go back to our own experience. We have to use our experience. And Mikey, I'm going to ask you a question about your year that you're working in, or you get it to work with said type of unattached youth and what them call it, and transitional youths. At one time, you would call us transitional youths. You remember that term, Mikey?
You remember my present work here in the
right?
US?
Good. Well, anyway, after I finish, so we have to first what we had in the community, it was love, right? That was what kept us, love. You, Patrick, you Lass, you Will, you Mikey, and myself. We were brethren in a community. And then all of us have little brothers and cousins and so. And when we come to the forum and when we come on the corner, we speak love. And we try to organize a little football match, right? And after we organize a football match, we say, well, boy, the football season is over. We're going into summer. And we organize summer schools. And we went to the different organizations and get books and get pencil and get food and all of those things. And those of us who could teach, who went to school or could teach art or could teach that, and we incorporate people from the community to help us. And we set up the youth clubs. That is where the youth clubs start, or the church club, depending on where we come from. So we add that. And as time goes by, those people who going to high school, we organize private lessons for them and carrying people in the community who those of us who could assist, teach them in the evening, those high school ones, right? And we have people who come in and speak to them about morals, and we have doctors who come in and speak to them about hygiene and those things, and we set up clinics. So all of those things we were doing at that time, but we were doing it for free because we didn't see ourselves making money from it. But today, everything that people does, or most thing that people do in the community, if there's not a lot to it, they will not do it, right? Remember at that time, we didn't have our parent never. Time wasn't as what we call it now. The economy at the time wasn't as great as now. Whether it was you have greater, and greater. You understand where we were? The economy at that time wasn't like that. We have less jobs, less factories, less that, right? But we were going to school, right? We were going to different schools. Some of us were going to the KC, the Georges, the Calabar, the this, the that, right? And we organize ourselves. What we need, that's why I said that the things have to start from the community level. It have to start there, right? Because when a leader come into a community, the community must tell the leader this is what we want, and not the leader come into the community to say this is what I am giving you, right? And that was what we had. When we meet with a politician and them things, when we meet with Tony Spalding, when I was in Johnstown and it, guys, I would meet with Tony Spalding, we tell Tony what we want. Right? See me? It's not something that he was coming to us. I run a youth club at that time named African Youth. African Youth is the best youth club that was in the community. We organized 22 youth club right across Johnstown, Admiral Town, Craigtown, and in Arnett Gardens, and we set up a community youth council where all of the leaders, or some leaders from all of those communities, came and we discussed policies and how the community to run. So we were the ones who
Can I respond? Can I respond? Can I respond to what you just said?
Yeah.
First, number one, in the community that I grew up in, Rattigan and Patrick, you had love, you also had hate. People who live on asphalt road, paved road, Malcolm Drive and what have you, them happy. The people who live on the gully bank, them not like them. So it was a mix of both love and hate. That is the situation in which we had to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Now, that situation caused a number of individuals to take the wrong road, take a right road, and what have you. The point I'm making is that regardless of the road, the politician, be the PMP and the JLP, he enters into a contract with resident to provide certain stuff to us. And one of those service he must provide is organize the community. The community organize itself. Whether I'm going to help the community start entrepreneur or different. If you just don't come to the community, come sit down and wait to vote. You have to do certain things, right? And that is my beef with these guys. Them come now community, and very few of them probably Tony. Well, say what you want to say about Eddie Siaga. Eddie Siaga went into Tivoli Girl, Bakawal, and when he left something in place. He left something, whether bad or what. He left that institution in place. Name me, well, Tony Spalding sat with the football club and what have you, and the sports. But how many MP you can point to who say they leave an organization in the community that is going to stand up on behalf of residents, both PNP and JP? None. You can't point to none.
At this time you're talking, Mikey?
Yeah?
At this time you're talking?
Yeah. You can't point to none. I reach out to Patrick. And say, bro, when can you know what I'm saying? I will tell you. When?
To Patrick, you mean to
the laziness that you point to, is not the laziness I find, is not.
No, you said to Patrick. You really mean to the MP?
Yeah, the consular.
Oh,
Patrick Roberts, who's a consular for part of Waterhouse.
Okay.
Yeah. Patrick, you think are you the man that come on like are you for don't get organized?
Yes, you understand me? So it's like Radigan. What can you point to where the PNP organized a group in a Waterhouse? You know of any?
No, but well on the thought that the one no, you are boots up the one a bit. You talk about the CDC and you talk about Ishmael and them people. No, you did not promote them the other day and say that they have some organization.
No. That effort is by way of the center, Chris, and all that stuff in terms of what we are trying to put together there. But we're not letting up with pressure on Mr. Hilton. You understand me? We're making sure we put the demand on the table. And I'm saying to you, if the People's National Party want to win, they have to create organization on the ground. You have to. There's no way out.
Well, here's a problem. Here's a problem with Mr. Hilton now, based on what I've seen and based on things that he said. He has Waterhouse, Seaview down to Ferry, and where's it, Pembroke Hall?
Duane Park.
Duane Park. And he lost in those two areas. Waterhouse and Washington Gardens. Those two areas.
No, I think it's Waterhouse and Seaview Garden.
No, it's Waterhouse and Washington Gardens. I have somebody.
Okay.
Waterhouse and Washington.
Yeah, them two areas bring him over, right? So the dilemma for him now is, okay, how do I spend my time? Do I spend my time going back to the areas where I lost and try to develop something there at the expense of dealing with the issues in the places where I won, right? I remember he's only one person. How does he? I remember I was telling you that you can't, there's so many critical issues at stake that it cannot be a part-time thing. You have to make a commitment. You have to be passionate about this. And if it's going to be a part-time thing, especially in a place like that, where, like you mentioned, the gentleman come back and within 2 years, the man gave him a run for him money. So can you imagine if the same person run against him now, what might happen? So in going to have to go make some serious, and time is running out because you can't do this at the last minute.
That's the thing why these guys cannot be a one-man band. They have to have the structures in the communities where we can represent the people and represent them.
And that may celebrate.
Because as a one-man band,
community,
him can go over Duane Park, him can go to Washington Garden and in a Waterhouse and do the thing every day. If him have a constituency organization in place, right?
I think he has. He has one.
No,
but Nita, how long has he been the MP for that constituency?
Over 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
More than seven, Mikey.
More than seven.
Mikey is there after
only 5 years, man.
Left. He took over.
I know a long time.
So how long is that?
5 years, man.
About 2 or 3 terms. About 15 years.
Okay, that's what I had heard.
Yeah.
About
And you're telling me,
years,
say,
I'm going to 20 years.
Yeah, and you're telling me, say, in 15 years, you don't have an apparatus. You don't have an organization. You don't have a mechanism where you can galvanize the people and get the vote, in order after if we could say 2 terms, 10 years, right? I'll do more than that. You tell me in 10 years you can't do that? No, then something wrong, man.
But,
If
but
not
here's
interested.
the thing. Here's the thing to Ratty. All right.
Mm-hmm.
To that point. The fact of the matter is, if you're thinking of becoming anything, whether you just have become an MP or you have become an MP plus the possibility of becoming a minister, right? The first lesson you gotta learn is, right, that it's gonna take organization. That's gonna be your number one lesson, right?
Right.
Your number 2 lesson is gonna be, right, in terms of your own consciousness and development. It can't be static, right?
Right.
I can't be the same MP I was 15 years ago today. I can't be the same minister I was 15 years ago today. Life moving progression. So I have to be a better MP, a better minister, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more I'm doing is gonna require the stronger my organization. Because like you said, one person can't do it. So it's the first lesson you learn, that the only other way for one person get it done, right, is for that one person start organizing on the ground, right? So that's how you build your organizational base.
The thing, Patrick, is that the thing where these people fear, what most politicians fear, is the people in the communities having power. Them fear that. And that is the thing that are going to help them. Right? Because a lot of them fear that if too many people in the community have power, these people are going to have power over them. That's what them
That's a
fear.
lopsided way of looking at it.
That's what they fear.
Yeah.
But it is the same thing with them fear. That's what is going to free them up
Exactly.
and give them the opportunity to do more work.
Exactly. Because there's no other way.
There's no other way. If him have a constituency council, just is this, you remember the other day we talked about an independent mass body in the community we can deal with the accountability issues and all of those things with the politician. It's the same thing the Gleaner raised in the editorial today. Right? But the politicians fear that these people might dethrone him. If him give these people power, him probably feel say these people go and dethrone him.
But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing to last. Here's the other thing too. And again, I hate to belabor the point, but I can't do it enough. Right? Looking back, how did the PNP and the JLP form? How much people even understand how the PNP and the JLP was formed? Right? They were formed out of the trade union movement. It was an overnight, them being discovered overnight. Right? It's not over the period of time that people know them that was the foundation of their formation. The foundation was the trade union movement, right? And it was because of the organizational skills, first of all, of Norman Manley, right? Because of his own education and background in law, right?
Norman
Manley led to him working with the BITU for trying to build the BITU and then break away and form an NWU. Right? And then from there promote himself into the political arena. So the whole understanding is that there's no getting around it.
But you remember what them used to say the BITU stand for?
Better IT few.
Better IT few, yeah.
Yeah.
Better IT few.
Yeah.
But let me say this, in all fairness, of all the MPs that serve Waterhouse, in my view, Mr. Hilton is one of the better ones. Mark is not doing what we want him to do. But when you reach out to him, he'll, accept your call and what have you. He's always in the community. When I'm just talking what have you, but he's one of the better one. He allow you to talk with, involved in a conversation and what have you.
And that means him listen.
He will listen.
If that's the only thing I'm not doing anything, Mikey.
From having met him and
Mikey, if that is the only thing you're not doing anything. Because I am not a Waterhouse person. But I know the community through working in Riverton. And I work with OT and I work with Hilton. And I think Hilton is one of the worst MP ever. And why I'm saying that, right?
Worse than David Core? Worse than David Core?
Up to now, Hilton don't put up not even one full cube inside and none of the communities that him involved.
No, but I asked you, worse than David Core?
Well, yes.
Hello, gentlemen.
Put up Quarryville.
No, man, listen to me now. Listen to me.
Under where name there? Before where name? What on there? Where the man name? Where the man where he call himself? Where the liar one? Where name again?
Thompson.
All of them are liar. All of them are liar.
David Core,
All of them are liar.
Yeah, but me just didn't want to distinguish the difference. That
I am saying.
Thompson. You understand?
I am
David
saying.
Core was the finance man and Wyman was the.
Listen, when was liar?
The commissioner.
Security.
What do you call it? The security.
Minister of Security.
Yes, all right. Here I am going.
I have interacted.
Well, on Mike, I just finish.
Let me finish, Wesley. Let me finish. Because you said something. I have interacted with most of the MP that serve my community.
Yes.
And I'm saying this. I'm not saying what Wesley is saying is not true or what have you. I'm saying that of all the MPs who serve Western St. Andrew, Mr. Hilton is one of the better one. And you can see it from his track, his work. He's willing to listen. He might take a long time to deliver or what have you. Dudley Thompson, when him come in, he just want to tell you what you think you should do. David Core, him don't tell you nothing, him just come in and stuff.
You don't even see him.
Hold on a second.
Yes,
Michael, David Core not come in at all.
Yes, him. O.T. Williams, which Wesley favor.
And I tell you why I favor him.
Let me finish.
Finish why I say
No. O.T. Williams, a lot of the construction people and business people like OT because OT will give out contracts.
OT never give me a contract yet, but I will tell you why.
Let me finish, Wesley. Let me finish. OT will give out contracts. If you know what I'm talking about, Patrick. Right? Mm-hmm. One thing I like about Mr. Hilton, Mr. Hilton engage you. He engage residents. It might be limited, yes, but he does engage residents. He might not deliver on stuff. And that is what they might not see him, People complain and say, boy, I'm not see the man and what have you, And when you say, all right, then, he run at the center, when you know what's going on, boy, can't go in there, let me take, give me a money, You understand what I'm saying? Mr. Hilton inherited a community with a lot of challenges. Okay? And for what he has accomplished and what he's working on, right now he's on a major development project for Waterhouse, a housing thing, which he talked about, Patrick, earlier. The housing down a ready mix.
Yeah.
He has done things, but his hands are tied, bro. His hands are tied. he has his own undemocratic way of doing stuff and what have you, but that doesn't negate the point that he listen and will engage residents. And he will tell you, tell you himself, listen, I have a friend that he works close with, you see, Chris. And he comes, him say, Mike, I wish I had 2 more Chris to work with.
And the reason for that, Mikey, too, is because it's something I pick up with Tony Hilton, from I met him. And Mary talked about that too, I think, right? My thing was that it's not that he's definitely not he's a good person to work with.
Yes,
I think he have very poor organizing skills.
Exactly.
I think that was something I personally
exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't really know because I'm not on the ground there and all of that, but I pick up that just from my interaction with him.
That's the problem he's facing in Waterhouse. Good person.
Yeah, good person to work with, but in organizational skills just not there.
So he don't have the mechanism in place. All he has is Chris on the ground, and all that.
I guess him need Andrew we call it him thing where him developed the other day.
Oh.
Him work plan, him work
job description.
Job description. I guess him need Andrew job description. I hope it
that's a total sham.
Mikey, I am taking a back, you see. I am taking a back in terms of
what me say Hilton?
Yeah, I'm taking a back. If there's a MP in a constituency for near to 20 years, and all he can do is to speak to you and speak nice. Mikey, man, think about what is all he can do is to speak to you and speak nice. Hilton,
what can you show? I agree with you.
What Hilton can show for 20 years in a constituency. Hilton is was a government minister under PNP government for the years when government he's a minister, he's a what you call it now, a parliamentarian still. He never never any time. And all that man can show is that I can tell you something, and why I am upset with Hilton. When Riverton, and I will speak of Riverton, I'll speak of Riverton and Callaloo Bed. Because when Riverton and Callaloo Bed, the other thing that the workers, when they start to build it, you call a thing called sweat etiquette, right? Where the people who live inside there, right, come or put certain amount of work in the construction, and that money goes towards their home, right? And the front of Riverton was cleared up with thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands spent in terms of cleaning the place, truckloads of garbage and those things, and redump and dump it with mall and filling and so forth, and put in infrastructure inside there. The front was clean and nice. And when Hilton and they move all of the man with the scrap iron out of the space, and that front was a big frontage area that they plan to put shops and those things to the front like mini plaza, right? And when the first time they start to go back inside the place and dump the front with whole scrap iron and the beautiful houses there, right? Hilton has never said anything. I saw Hilton in a meeting and I raised it at a meeting that he was at, right?
But Wesley.
Well, I can finish. I can just finish, please. Right? And Hilton, he would deal with it. You know who deal with it? A Desmond McKenzie, the labor right, go down there and clean the place, right? And clean the community that people can feel, because there is 180 houses down there, 1 and 2 bedroom down there, right? And the community was crying out on the radio, and this man clean it. And long after it happened again, and Hilton make it stay under him as an MP and make it gone back to garbage. Come on, man.
Yeah, but,
Well, Wesley,
don't.
Patrick.
All I want to say is this. I just want to clear something up, right? What we're saying here is not in defense of Hilton in any way, right? We're just all Michael's saying, it's just to the point of Michael's saying in terms of all of them, because all of them, right, have been pretty much bad MPs, despite what might happen with them. You mentioned about Corville, but Corville definitely wasn't about David Core. It's only name after him, right? Housing Trust.
It's time to be corrected,
right? But anyway, just to say, right? My contribution was that personally, him is a good person who potentially we can work with, right? But at the same time, him lack organization. I pick up that early on, right? So it's not to say that he's without fault or anything like that. So I don't want you to confuse it in that way.
I think.
But he no build nothing in a Waterhouse. He no build nothing in a CU. He no build nothing in a all that. Look, man, he don't build nothing in Waterhouse. He don't build nothing in
Park.
there. Down there, so. He no build nothing in a Patrick.
Wesley,
he no build nothing in a nowhere.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we invite him to be a guest on this program for next Sunday?
Yeah, man, call him.
All right, we'll do that. And
I
that
would
note,
really like to speak to him on some of the issues. Because you cannot make so much investment go down to nothing to it. And you make it look like dump again to the people. It's an injustice to the people.
it's an injustice from in the first place, building houses on the dump.
Whether you build the house on the house belong there, and the people must not go back to the dump, Mikey. You come back with the said full argument, Mikey.
Yeah.
Come back with the said full argument. People were living there. Well, Mikey, I'm going to address this again once and for all for you.